I'm Juliet Wolf-Robin, National Executive Director of American Photographic Artists. APA is a national association of professional photographers. And in this room today, we have a whole bunch of them who are board members that we want to introduce you to so that you can learn more about APA and why it's something you might want to be a part of. Our focus is on professional photographers who mainly work in the advertising and editorial sectors of the industry. And our mission is really to help advocate on behalf of photographers, help connect them with people who can hire them, create a community of photographers, and really work together so that for the betterment of the industry as a whole. So we hope that you'll consider joining APA and being part of our association. You can reach out to any of us here. And we're going to start with a short clip, and then I'm going to introduce you to everybody. So
since we switched you back to host, you're going to have to enable screen sharing.
APA is about people and relationships.
APA is my outlet for connecting with like-minded professionals.
APA for me is a network of creative individuals that inspire me every single day.
APA for me is having colleagues that you don't normally have as a freelancer.
APA for me is having a bunch of friends that I can call anytime when I need anything.
APA is a group of professionals who are there to help me succeed.
APA for me is a community of photographers that really inspire me.
APA for me is being able to advocate for my industry.
All right. Well, thank you to APA DC for putting that together. I just touched me so much that you would all meet up last week and produce something like that. It's great, and it's wonderful to see that people can even get together. So I'm going to first introduce Laura Chase DeFormeny, and she can tell you a little bit about the that video and why she's a part of APA on the board in DC.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Chase DeFormeny. I am a food and food lifestyle photographer in the DC area, and I'm on the board of APA DC. And yeah, it was really such a joy to get to be with all of my APA colleague board members. All that was missing was the hugs, but we'll get there next time. We had a good laugh at ourselves shooting that video for you, so I hope you enjoyed it. But APA for me, like I said in the video, it really is having a community of colleagues that you miss out on when you're a freelancer. So, if something goes wrong on set, I know that I have at least just within the board, at least 8 other people that I can text, well into like 10:30 at night to try and troubleshoot the problem so it doesn't happen on set again the next day. I've learned, I came from a retail and photojournalism background, so everything I know about licensing, I learned from APA. It was really the organization that I needed to help transition me into a commercial and editorial, revenue building business. So that's what APA has been for me. I give a lot of my time to APA, and recently just finished hosting with other women of the board. We hosted a workplace discrimination panel that focused on what freelancers' rights are. So it was focused on women in the workplace, and it was really successful. We're really proud of it, and we're hoping to do more female identifying focused programming in the future.
Great. Thank you very much. And I know that you can't stay for this whole thing, so I really appreciate your being here. Thank you.
We're being quiet.
Okay, great. Barry Harley, you're with the DC chapter and you were involved with the video, so I'll pass it to you next.
Cool. Thanks. Nice to be here. I am part of the Washington, DC chapter. I'm a hotel architectural photographer. That is my mainstay. That's what keeps the light on. And then, so I do some other things on the side, but primarily that's what I do for a living. APA is, for me, helps me for a sounding board if I need advice about something that I not necessarily can go to someone outside of my industry, but somebody inside the industry. And sometimes it's nice to have that collective mind. I talk about the collective mind, where sometimes it's not about necessarily the same industry, but something close, how they're using something that I can transfer into my industry or adapt it to how I work. I've done that a number of times with things I do in the portrait world that I've learned. I've taken that into the architectural photography world, and I've taken architectural photography stuff over into the portrait world just by having that collective mind and people to sound things through and figure out how things work. We had probably too much fun making that video. We kidded around a lot, but that's part of the APA community that I do love. And from that, when we're leaving that the set, we talked about, hey, let's do this again. Let's come up with some kind of commercial that we don't have to shoot, but just for ourselves, and we get to meet up together and have fun. So APA is about that community and having that collective mind and able to sound information out and get people in the industry to weigh in on those ideas.
Great, thank you. And right now on the apanational.org site, there's a profile about Barry and some of the other work that he does also that has won awards with APA. Dana Hersey is on the National Board of American Photographic Artists, and I welcome you.
Thanks, Juliet. Yeah, my name is Dana Hersey. I'm Senior Vice President on the National Board, and I'm an LA-based photographer doing conceptual humor, quirky photography. I also do a fair amount of food as well. And APA for me, boy, has been there since the beginning of my career. I remember when I went to Art Center to get a degree. And when at the time at Art Center, we had to join APA. We were required to join APA because of all the benefits. And I have to say that, I really look at it as three things. It's community, advocacy, and business support for me. Some of the other members here have already talked about the community. That's really strong. I mean, we tend to kind of be loners in our industry. We kind of put blinders on and do our own thing and tend not to share maybe as much as we should. And for me, APA has really exposed me to a lot of great colleagues that I wouldn't have otherwise met. I would have just stayed in my little silo and hunkered down and done my job. And APA has really opened me up to connecting with other great people that are other great resources. I've tapped Travis a couple times for some suggestions on things. And, in our meetings, we just naturally exchange a lot of great behind the scenes information. And it's very supportive. And it's like, yes, somebody else is experiencing that too. I'm not alone in that. And we're great problem solvers. It's advocacy. It's the organization. Juliet, I dropped out of APA for a short time. Juliet called me up on the phone and guilted me back into being a member again, saying, you've been doing this long enough. You need to start giving back. And it's like, you know what? You're right. I do. And so the advocacy portion of it, supporting copyright, supporting working conditions, that type of thing, and educating our community on standards in the industry and really trying to lift the industry up is a big part of why I'm part of APA, because I just really believe in trying to elevate our profession as a whole. And then business support, which I've been using the APA forums on my invoices, model releases, that kind of stuff since the day I started. The terms and conditions on my invoice are derived from the APA terms and conditions that were legally sussed out, back in the day, and haven't changed a lot. We've massaged them a little bit, but having just that kind of basic technical support for business has been really great. So and discounts, why not? Throw in discounts. We get discounts on things. So all of these things really make it way more valuable than what I actually pay for. So yeah, it's been a really great ride here.
Great, thank you. And yeah, and you can see the work of any of the photographers who are here today on our website at Hire an APA Pro and be able to see these are all professional photographers. So Inti St. Clair is also on the APA National Board. So let me introduce her.
Yeah, so I, like Dana, am a VP of National Board. I haven't been part of it super long, but I've been part of APA for, I don't know, 20 years or something. And I can say that truly I feel like being a part of organization like this is just essential if you're a freelancer. You never know when you're gonna need help, and that help can come in so many different ways. You know, for me, I'm trying to think about what I can say that hasn't already been said, because I am on board with what everybody else already said, for sure. But like, one of the things I think that I find really helpful is when I'm traveling to a market that I haven't been in and I need crew, and I know that I have fantastic people and resources that I can call in to help me find the best people to help me get my job done, which is great. And I don't think anybody has mentioned the source books, but I also think that, you know, the source book and all the awards that APA does is a way for us to get exposure to people that are hiring us, and truly, as all the ways that we can get our work out there, we have to be doing as freelancers, and APA definitely helps provide that as well. And they're Find a Pro on the site and all of that. So, yeah.
Great, thank you. Gary Allard, you've probably been on the board the longest of anybody who's here today, based in San Diego. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've been on the San Diego chapter board for probably around 10 years now. I can't put a number to it, but I've been the chapter chair for 4+ years now. And San Diego is a unique chapter because we really have kind of, it's a little bit of a misnomer. We should be more of a Southwest chapter because we do include Texas. We have Nevada and New Mexico and Arizona. So we cover a big territory, and we have some incredible photographers in all those areas. And it's been a real pleasure of mine to meet and connect with a lot of them in all those different areas. The APA for me, in the beginning, I was kind of brought in with one of our presidents at the time. I walked into one of the events that they were holding, and John Durant, then chairman of the board, greeted me warmly, made sure I got my APA hat in the mail as becoming a new member. And this was back when APA was actually Advertising Photographers of America. So way back before the name change and everything. So he said, we would love to have your support, your energy on the board. I took him up on it, and I just found a wealth of knowledge and support. It's inspiration from my peers. It's so much more. I mean, I can't put a dollar value on that. So.
Great, thank you. Nat Turner, who's in San Francisco, last year when everything shut down and we decided we would start doing webinars, jumped in immediately and participated, and he's been the host of Biz Talk, so here he is now.
Hey everyone. Yeah, thanks, Juliet. Yeah, when the pandemic hit, I saw Travis doing all his great discussions, and I thought, let's do another one. And I went to Juliet and said, "Hey, let's do one." And she said, "Yeah, let's do one." And of course, I do not have any experience public speaking, but I just knew I had to kind of just be of service and help people out. And it turned out pretty well. But anyhow, yeah, I'm part of the APA SF board. I'm also now part of the APA Diversity Committee. So doing a lot, and really happy to be part of it all. APA is first and foremost a big part of how I even started having a community in commercial photography. I was a photojournalist for about 9 years, And I just completely 360, just one day decided to leave a staff job and, dove right into whatever you want to call it, freelance, world. And I was like starting from scratch, even though was a quote unquote professional. I didn't, I didn't know even really where to begin. And that's where APA really, really just like, it was like, I didn't have to go back to school. It really helped me start a foundation to business that I had no understanding. It's like a whole nother language. And the great thing about APA is, we're all working and we're all facing different challenges, and we're all constantly trying to learn, and we can bring up a lot of those kinds of things that we are experiencing, and have those topics be addressed in different events. And APA is really big on events. There's if you haven't seen any of the events, every chapter is just going nuts. Like every month, just pumping out great events, lots of great education that I highly, highly recommend. A lot of people just sometimes don't even know about it, and it's every Monday, I think, that the APA national email goes out that has lists, I believe. Juliet can tell you more, but that lists all of them. But I think that's good for now. But yeah, APA has been really made quite a difference in my career as a commercial photographer, which has been about over probably 12 years now. So thanks.
Yeah, and I think that that's a really good point. There's a lot of the content that's also available on our YouTube APA national YouTube channel. There's also some that's on Vimeo that if you are a member, you can get access to. Dana did a 2-hour in-depth from the moment you get the phone call, how you should look at bidding the project, producing the project, talking to the client, presenting yourself to the client. So I really encourage people to take advantage of the incredible content that's being produced from chapters around the country and from individuals, either on YouTube or on our Vimeo channel. Martine Severin is actually the chair of our diversity committee, so let me pass it to you next.
Thanks, Juliet. I feel like some of the things that I want to say will have already been said by many of these esteemed photographers here. But I'm so pleased to be chatting with all of you. My name is Martine Severin. I am a commercial and lifestyle photographer based in Chicago and often in LA as well. I joined APA when I first moved back to the US after living in Europe for a few years, and I didn't know anyone. And if you've ever moved, it takes a long time to actually get a community, like to create a community. And I, since we moved quite a bit, I know that the average time is about 2 years. You have 2 years between the time that you land to when you could feel at ease and feel like you actually have friends. It was really funny for me because what the 2 years didn't really apply in Chicago. It could be that Chicago is special, or it could just be that I joined the APA. What was really funny and still continues to surprise me about the APA is how really collaborative and friendly people are. And as I was hearing everyone talk, I was like, man, they sound like they're lying through their teeth, but they're not. People are actually, people are actually really nice and really willing to help. And I'm just looking at everyone who's here, including some of the folks who aren't here. I have talked to so many of you on the phone. I have Laura's info, I have Chris's info, I've called Natter. I haven't called Inti yet, but I probably will in the future. And I've talked to Travis on the phone, and I have Juliet on speed dial. And this is all to say that what's funny about APA, and I've joined other professional organizations in the past, and I joined a similar photo organization when I was living in London. It's not the same. I think the networking is kind of like it's amazing, mainly because you, through the networking and through the events that you will attend as part of your APA chapter, or even honestly these days, like I attend New York events, I attend San Diego events. There are events that you could attend galore. And not only that, as Juliet mentioned, there's a whole host of I mean, go YouTube crazy, right? Like there's so much that's actually on YouTube as well. So it's really amazing to me that I was able to find an organization. And since photography is my second career, I was able to actually learn my chops, right? Learn what does it mean to be a professional? What does a professional photographer look like? How does a professional photographer act? How does a professional photographer present themselves? And these are all things I learned straight through the APA. And from learning all of those things, I just felt like, really, all of this, like basically I got a degree by just attending events and going back and looking at the history of events that the APA has put on. And I was so pleased that I was invited, honestly, to join the Chicago board back in 2019. And I'm so pleased that I did, because I like, and I felt like I had to as well, because I felt like, I just was learning all of this information and I needed to give back in some way. And I think that it was also really amazing to be able to talk with not only Juliet, but other folks on the board, to both national as well as in Chicago, to really think about like, what do we want to do at this stage in at this time in history where about diversity, and to be able to bring together just a beautiful group of people to figure out what that means and how we want to present our organization, and how we want to and what kind of actions that we want to take.
And I have to say, I've never seen a committee within APA be as active and supportive and encouraging and as enthusiastic as the diversity committee. And I know that has a lot to do with your leadership. So thank you, Martine. Christopher Malcolm is probably the newest board member with the APA. He's on the board of APA Los Angeles, and he's been an award winner with APA Off the Clock, among others. So welcome, Christopher.
Thank you. Yes, I'm the baby of the group. I just joined up with the LA board this year. I was also on the diversity committee last year and this year, so that's kind of continuing as well. I'm a Los Angeles-based lifestyle, fitness, and activewear photographer. And so, I joined APA, I mean, again, to echo what some of the other folks have said, really for knowledge. I mean, this particular industry isn't really one where, it's not like law. You go to college, you know everything, and you get out and then you learn and you collect, and there's a very kind of formal way of doing it. I think with a creative career, you kind of have to figure it out on your own. And when you have resources like the APA, you don't necessarily have to figure it out on your own. You can rely on the experience of some of your peers, get to know some really nice folks, and kind of really figure out the way to make your passion into a business. And so that's really why I joined up with APA. While with APA, I also do things like I'm also helping with the LA's chapter's portfolio reviews. So these are things that are like very important for myself, trying to get in front of certain clients, trying to, show work. And now I get a chance to actually kind of give back to other photographers and help other photographers show their work and build their career.
Great, thank you. Lupin Hammock is the chair of the San Francisco chapter, and he's brought together an incredible community of board members for San Francisco. So Lupin, maybe you can talk about that.
Yeah, thanks, Juliet. Hi, everyone. Before diving into the community part, I think that it is important to sort of illustrate the value of the APA as I see it. I started as a member of the APA, when I first started photo assisting, like Dana said, it was just something we did. And the thing looking back on it now that is the most incredible part is how the organization is able to offer something to you throughout your entire career. And it's no coincidence that all of these people sitting here tonight are volunteers. We all do it because we believe in what the organization is doing. And the value is so many different fold, but the advocacy work that the organization does is the backbone of how we all make a living, and has really educated our community every step of the way and been there to support it, and has grown a community around this idea that as creative artists, as visual artists, that we need someone in our corner who is creating laws that are in our favor. So as we've moved through the most recent chapter of the organization, we've really thought about how to expand that. And I think the organization as it stands now is a really good reflection of the hard work that has been done over the long haul. And there's a really incredible community component to it as well, which I think has a lot of value beyond just being nice to talk to people. I really believe that it gives us a competitive advantage to be able to share knowledge with like-minded folks and create new connections that grow our networks. So those pieces of it for me are worth their weight in gold and are something that are really important to the survival of our industry. And like Gary was saying, San Francisco is an interesting chapter because it also includes Oregon and Washington in the chapter for San Francisco. So we have this incredible community from San Francisco north, basically, that we have a really close connection with the people that are actively involved in the organization. And I really feel like it's something that I would not have the network that I have of people if it weren't for this organization, and for all of the people, to Martine's point, are so nice and so easy and willing to share information and get on the phone and answer questions. And as a consequence, it instills that feeling in all of us as we move through our career to give back and to create new opportunities for the next generation coming up.
That's great. Thank you very much. Lisa Vortman, if you've been to Palm Springs Photo Festival when it was actually in Palm Springs, you would know Lisa because she's everywhere. She's wherever you look, she's there. Very enthusiastic, very much one of those people who brings everyone together, and hosted some of our talks while we were there. So Lisa, welcome.
Thank you. Oh, it's hard to go towards the end because everyone's pointed out the most amazing aspects, and I'm like racking my brain, but also want to listen to you. So it's been hard to do both at the same time. I want to reiterate that to everyone's point, the genuine connection that we have created within the APA is unlike other organizations, in my opinion. I feel like when I started my career in going to the Academy of Art and pursuing seriously what this looks like as a job and as a career path and as a life, I didn't have many examples of this in my lifetime. I had one high school teacher who's also on the board and a part of APA who looped me in, but otherwise I didn't have a lot of great examples of the success of a life in art. And to connect with people who aren't kind of hogging the secrets or competitively, stringing you along with little bits and saying, oh, you got it, but are just really taking your own ideas and running with them to advance, or just that competitive nature. I felt that in other areas, and I didn't really feel that when I joined APA, which was only a couple of years ago. And I was really longing for that sense of support as an emerging artist, to feel like there is a career path in this. There is an industry, and I actually rose in the industry just before the boom of Instagram and social media and iPhones, where now everybody can have an incredible camera in their pocket. And so I feel like the APA for me, and this is what I'm just going to say to set apart all the amazing things everyone else said, okay, but know that those are in my heart. But for me, I find that I have battled on and off the value of who I am as a photographer, because I am in a sea of incredible talent, and I see it every day, all day long. And it can get a little bit overwhelming. It can get a little bit of a deterring factor of like imposter syndrome. I actually say that a lot. Sometimes I'm like, who am I? Who am I to be doing this? What am I really doing? What am I adding into this? Like, there's just so much out there already. And honestly, that can be a really heavy place to land as a creative. There's already a lot of doubt swimming around in our artwork. So for me, the community support has been so strong, but also the business side, the stability of running a business, and to understand that you can have the creative eye, you can have the camera in your pocket at all times, you can be an enthusiast or a creative at any hour of the day, but to manage a business and to sustain that throughout a lifetime, it takes work. And to have the APA, who is reliable and who is working so hard to evolve with the times. And, you know, we just joined Clubhouse and we're trying to figure that out. You know, we're trying as a community. You know, we're not an old organization to the point where we're outdated and irrelevant. If anything, we're more important now than ever, because you can get so lost in the world of internet, in the world of visuals. And honestly, for whatever reason, I feel more centered and grounded than ever when I'm in a room with my APA members, whether it's virtually now or in the, you know, months before COVID, where we would get together every month and sit around in a circle and talk about what are we seeing, what are we struggling with, share resources, and do it openly. And we have a really great community here in San Francisco where we get together every month and we kind of set the ground rules. It's open, it's loving. There's no ego. You check the ego at the door. You show up to be a part of the whole. And I think Dana said it earlier, where that's been my number one goal, is to create an industry and to be a part of elevating our industry so that it is sustainable and we can all thrive as a whole. Because if it's all of us, then the whole industry elevates, not just a few within. So I'm super grateful. I've learned a lot, and if anything, I'm looking forward to growing and learning more and more.
Thank you. That's great, Lisa. If you don't know who Travis Keys is, you're not paying attention, because really, he has probably produced the most amount of content with APA, of webinars and conversations with photographers that are inspiring, educational. You can look on APA New York's website, the national site. Almost every week he's got new talks out there. So let me introduce you to Travis Keys.
Well, talk about going dead last and after following up 11 people talking, that's pressure coming up with something new. I am Travis Keys. I'm chairman of APA New York. I have been chairman for a little over 2.5 years, going into my second run as chairman of New York. I think the most important thing is why I chose APA, because there's so many different, places out there, and why would you choose an organization, and why I chose APA. I'm like one of those people that has to try everything. Like, I will buy a Sony camera, I'll buy a Canon camera, I will buy a Fuji camera, and I have to try them all to see which one I'm going to live with. And I tried all of them. I went out there and I joined all the organizations, and APA fit. It was my tribe. It was instantly, I got calls back. I had people accepting me, wanting to reach out, and it was in every shape, color, size, every type of photographer. It was unbelievable, and I felt so welcomed, and I felt a home there that within a year, just over a year, I became chairman. And I came to photography much later in my life. I worked in film and TV for years, and then I owned nightclubs and bars in New York. And like, what does someone do after nightclubs and bars? Well, you become a professional photographer. So that's what I did, and I felt like I am not a young lad. I am running into something full force where every single person has a camera nowadays, and it's the hardest industry to get into, because there's, it's like, it seems like, they're every day they're firing, news photographers, or you can't get this job. And suddenly it's like, where am I going to find the wealth of information and catch up and be so quick into this industry? And suddenly APA was not only I was building these friendships and amazing, connections with people, but I was getting knowledge, I was getting benefits, I was getting discounts at Apple, discounts at, from camera stores. I found out they're, oh my God, they're fighting for me behind the scenes, that, in terms of like, copyright and advocacy and Case Act. And suddenly, like, these people are like trying to make my life better. They're making me more successful. Like, and suddenly I realized I've fought all my life to find something that I woke up every day loving to do. And photography was that. And for me, it's like, I finally found something I love so much that I was so passionate about. If I could help people in any fashion whatsoever, I was going to do that. And APA was, the most important thing is, like, if you can learn your camera, you can learn your settings, you can learn everything. But if you don't network and have a support group that is really there to be honest with you and talk to you and help you, everybody talked about, it's like, oh, I can call up one person and get, I just, someone contacted me, they want to, license my photo. I have no idea. I've never licensed a photo. What do I can get someone within minutes on the phone and they'll tell me, oh, you do this, I've done that. And he's like, and these are professional photographers that have done everything from magazines to huge campaigns, like you name it, they've done it. And I'm part of that organization. And that feels really darn special. And I think the best thing about APA is it allows you to follow what you want to do, because you can come into APA and say, I just want it for the benefits, or I just want this. But for me, it was like, I could be a voice. I could help build the community. I could help support the community. When COVID happened, it's like suddenly all of us were like, what are we going to do? We're so used to giving live events that now suddenly we can't get together, we can't touch each other. And who knew it was going to last a year? But within, I think, everything closed down in March. By second week in March, I had the first Zooms up in webinar, and we've been doing that for over a year, and it's just grown. And we just found other ways to reach out to people and give people the tools they need. And it's the most amazing place, and the most amazing people. And it is, as much as you put in, you will get out. So if you want to be a leader, or if you want to get, inspired, or if you want tools of the trade, if you want secrets, if you want friends, if you want connections, networking, it's all here. I mean, it's just like, it's a one-stop shop. It's everybody's told you, and you know what, the best thing you can do is just call one of us up or write us. And that's the other thing. We're available to answer back, because we love what we do.
How could you not want to be part of that? I mean, look at this. This is like, I want to be part of this. This is where I want to be. So thank you for that. I don't know if there's any questions, because we are live at Palm Springs Photo Festival right now. So in theory, you could have a question if you're out there and you're watching this live, and you want to send us a question. I should be able to get your questions. And then in the meantime, so each night during the festival, we will be here 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. We will have photographers on each night. The Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we will be giving tips about from the careers of photographers. And Travis will be hosting the one on Wednesday night. So maybe he can tell you a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's going to be best Instagram practices for marketing your photography. And, social media is one of those things that's just, it's overwhelming. It's like, do I do TikTok? Do I do Clubhouse? Do I do this? It's like, and every day the algorithms are changing. We really want to take a kind of more advanced strategy of how to really implement the best marketing practices and knowing what to do and how to do it. So on Wednesday, we're going to do, I'm going to be speaking with someone that's a pro in this, and we're going to be answering questions towards the end. But it's going to be a really kind of great seminar on what we do. And part of what I do as a photographer is plan these, social media, campaigns for big corporations, for, celebrities, and for influencers, stuff like that. So I got a little insight onto it.
Excellent. Does anyone else have anything they want to add, anything they want to say, something that they've thought about that's coming up, that, something that you're a part of that you want to make sure other people follow, join, go to? Dana?
Yeah, the organization as a whole is always trying to push forward and find new ways to kind of benefit the membership. And one of the things that was introduced, I want to say it was only really introduced last year, was the Hire an APA Pro. And it was a reimagination of a database so that creatives could come in, search for pro photographers by geolocation, by specialty, or by name, to simply search that out. And as a member, you're just automatically part of that search engine. It's something that we continue to develop. We are looking at redeveloping the website yet again to kind of just keep pushing forward and create more community. We're looking at some really great options for community building and to be able to make it easier for you to reach out to other members, other pros, and ask questions, have a conversation. So I'm really excited about the work that our website committee's been doing to push Hire an APA Pro and to push that community sense even further. So if you are a member or if you're thinking about becoming a member, I would keep an eye out very shortly for some new improvements coming your way. We're really excited about it.
Good. And if you are a member, update your profile. Be really good. Good if we're doing a lot to try to bring art buyers and art producers to our site. So it's helpful if when they do a search that they can find you. So you want to make sure your links are all working and that you have new images up. And if you're a pro, you have 8 images you could be posting on the site right now. So we really want to encourage people to do that. We're going to be participating in connections through Le Book again in a couple of weeks. We've done a couple of those already, and it's a way for us to connect with creatives from agencies and then introduce them to our photographers through the source book, through Hire an APA Pro. So it's really important that we make it easy for them to find you and that you make it easy for them to see your work. So definitely encourage people to do that.
So we did have a question come in from Doug Birnbaum, who's a SF member of APA. He's curious when we might have live meetings coming back. And I think we're all a little curious about that. Is there any read on the forecast there, Juliet?
So I don't know. I haven't. Has any of the chapters started to consider what date they want to do an event in person?
We've definitely talked about it. Our very first thing we're going to be doing is I'm bringing the board back. So the board hasn't seen each other in person for a year. We've all done these Zoom things, which has been a great tool, but there's something different about connecting in person. And it's so important to have that connection. And we're doing our first, I invited everybody up to my house on May 16th. And so we're doing a big barbecue at my house. So that'll be our first kind of introduction back into seeing each other, and then kind of discussing and seeing, every day we one of the great things we did as an organization is really dive in quickly on, on COVID, on dealing with going back to the set and shooting and how to deal with that. So we're always kind of re-gauging the atmosphere of the industry and if it's safe to bring people back. And I think now that more people are getting vaccinated with their dual vaccinations and single vaccinations and all that, there's a lot more talk now of we're planning a couple photo walks in New York. So we're actually going to be starting to do some events very soon that are outdoors and very safe and limited. And so we're looking at some shoots and some different stuff. So we're starting a program now.
Yeah, we've had a number of webinars about what to do on set to be safe. So my sense was when DC, Barry, maybe you can touch on this, when you did the get together last week, is that what you followed, sort of like what you would normally do on a set?
Yeah, it was exactly what we would do on a set. We were masked up, socially distant. If you looked in the background, you could see the crew. We were still, even because we're all participating in the video. So in the background, you can see one person is all the way over to the left and one person is all the way over to the right. And we are all masked up. And even when we're having lunch, there was this big lunch room, and we're the only thing we needed were the bullhorns. Hey, over, yeah, we're all kind of masked up. And so I don't see how we're going to get around that in the near future because of just the situation of things. one of my recently just some thoughts that have been going through my head about, we keep using the word let's go back to normal, and that makes us unsatisfied with the situation we are in. So if we think, okay, we would like normalcy according to old ways, but that may never be. So how can we adjust to what is current?
Yeah.
The new norm.
One step at a time. And I think, you know, we have created a new community because of what's happened that we didn't have before, through the webinars and conversations that we're having. So there is something that's really special that's been able to come out amidst all this. So I feel really fortunate that that's happened.
I have one, Juliet. We started in San Francisco a monthly get together called SET, which is Second Experimental Tuesday, to surely keep a good finger on the pulse of the community and be able to respond in real time to what people wanted to talk about. And it's been a really, really fun thing to do, and has kept us really informed with what our members want to talk about. And this last month, we did a SET event on usage and talked as a casual conversation about usage. And everyone just shared stories, and we compared notes and gave one another pointers without a formal expert in the room. We just had a casual conversation about it, which had such great turnout and such great traction that we are now planning for next month a paid event on it with 2 really good producers and 2 really good reps to do a panel discussion to talk about negotiating. So I think from a perspective of affecting change, everyone that you see out here tonight is, in their own way, to Travis's point, figuring out what they are into and what they like. And there's a lot of room within the APA to do what you're passionate about and really affect change within the community and the organization.
Well, I think that's, you know, what we're looking for going forward, is to also just tap into where are we going next? What is it that's going to help people get back to work? What are the key things they need to know about? We can pull in experts. We can pull in legal teams. I mean, that's what we do. So we had a situation recently where somebody needed help with a contract, and we contacted an attorney, and then we made the information about that you might use on your terms and conditions available to anybody who would have that same kind of question. So that's a really key part of it, is to understand from the community what it is that you would like to know, so that we can pull that information together.
Yeah, I wanted to just to put a plug in for our upcoming event in San Diego. We have an event called Culture and Cause that's going to highlight 3 extraordinarily talented women in photography, and we put it out there as sort of a fundraiser for them. So each of these photographers has chosen a favorite cause that they've been supporting, and a nonprofit that they've been supporting and working with, and the admission to the event is going to go fully to these 3 different organizations. So that is coming up May 6th, and I will post the event link in the chat for anybody that's interested. But it's Morgan DeLuna, Natasha Johnson, and Kara Romero, and they're 3 extraordinarily fantastic photographers. And they're just going to be talking a little bit about their work, their cause, and kind of the background of what brought them to where they are. So I encourage you all to please check it out.
Great. And if you go to the APA National site, there are a number of ways you can get information through the events page. There's all the different events that are happening. webinars. Most of them are free for anybody who wants to sign up for them. On our Instagram account, American Photographic Artists account, any of the chapter websites, there's information out there, so just look for it or contact us if you need to know. We have a monthly diversity and inclusion discussion that's on the first Monday of each month. But yeah, definitely. And then the APA awards are going to be coming up soon, so there'll be call for entries. And then APA LA is doing a portfolio review that's coming up, so definitely a lot of things happening.
Juliet, could I hop back in one more time
Yes.
just to address Doug's question sort of in earnest? One thing we've learned with our set events is to try to be good listeners and to really answer people's questions. So we sort of went around, pandemic is still going on. We don't have any expectation of holding in-person events in the foreseeable future, but I would say probably towards the end of the summer, we'll be in a good place to start doing those things again, you know, if things keep moving on this trajectory. But we see getting through the summer as virtual still before we can get to a place where we feel like we can safely get people together and have everyone actually be relaxed and be able to let their guard down and feel comfortable. So through the summer, we'll be continuing with virtual events. And then as the summer winds down, probably in the fall, looking at starting to pick back up with in-person events again.
Or just come to New York and come out with us, because we're gonna do one in the Botanical Gardens. We're doing a picnic in Central Park, so we're taking advantage of the outside.
All right, good to know. So all this week, there's the Palm Springs Photo Festival has a number of different free talks and events that are going on. We'll be here every day at 4 p.m. Pacific. And then this was my experiment for going live on Facebook. We'll see how it went. And then we'll be doing Clubhouse soon, apparently. That's the next thing. So we're everywhere. Wherever you want to be, we'll be there to meet you. So I just want to thank all of these volunteers again. Remember, these are professional photographers who are volunteering their time, and I greatly appreciate it, and the community appreciates it. So thank you. Thank you for those who came today to hear us. Anybody else? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.